Teen Services Coordinator here at MPL. We know finding your next great read can be a challenge, so every other week we'll release short book talks to help introduce you to some of our new arrivals and great library reads. We are celebrating I Read Canadian Day in this week's Adult Book Talk. I Read Canadian Day is a national celebration of Canadian books for young people, but we thought, what the heck, let's celebrate Canadian authors for adults too. First up, Can You Hear Me Now by Celina Caesar-Chavannes. Celina Caesar-Chavannes blazed a trail for Black women in both business and politics. In 2015, she was the first Black person elected to represent a federal riding, but she hadn't really given much thought to entering a realm that wasn't prepared for her. Soon, she was both making waves and breaking down. She felt exhilarated and empowered, but ultimately, there was a price to pay for speaking out about racism and microaggressions on Parliament Hill. Can You Hear Me Now is both a leadership book and a memoir, a funny, self-aware confessional exploring how failures rather than extraordinary successes can provide far more powerful lessons in how to conduct a life, how to build honesty with yourself and others that builds a world where inclusion is real. Next up is Kill Them All by Pasha Malla. Pasha Malla was born in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, but spent his formative years in London, Ontario, and now lives in Hamilton. He is the award-winning author of 5 works of poetry and fiction, including his short story collection, The Withdrawal Method, which was longlisted for the Giller Prize. Described as Douglas Adams meets David Lynch, Kill Them All is a hilarious and hallucinatory work of horror fantasy where our eccentric narrator is offered residency in a shabby suburban shopping center, but soon discovers that the mall may not be the temple of consumer bliss he initially imagined, but something far more sinister. A cutting critique of consumer culture as embodied in the fading faux grandeur of the local mall. And finally, The Centaur's Wife by Amanda Leduc. Amanda Leduc's essays and stories have appeared in publications across Canada, the US, and the UK. She's the author of the nonfiction book Disfigured on fairy tales, disability, and making space, out in 2020. She has cerebral palsy and lives in Hamilton, Ontario, where she works as the communications coordinator for the Festival of Literary Diversity, Canada's first festival for diverse authors and stories. Leduc's latest novel, The Centaur's Wife, includes fairy tales of her own devising and is a vision of what happens when we ignore the natural world and the darker parts of our own natures. Heather and her small family are among the few survivors of a city destroyed by meteors. Just outside the city looms a giant mountain with power only Heather can connect to. She is torn by her awareness of what unleashed the devastating meteor shower and what is coming for those few survivors. A novel to remind us that the most important things in life aren't things at all, but the people we want by our side at the end of the world. On the heels of the Toronto Raptors' historic NBA championship and the record-setting number of Canadian draft picks, the Toronto Hoop Dream is more alive than ever. Join MPL for an online film screening of True North: Inside the Rise of Toronto Basketball on Tuesday, February 23rd at 6:30 p.m. Email fshergold@midlandlibrary.com to register and receive online meeting information. The library is now open for curbside service. Visit our website for a full list of details, including our frequently asked questions. You can visit us online via our website, using the Free Simcoe County Libraries app, or by calling 705-526-4216 to place holds on any of the books that I've mentioned here or any in the library. You can also return your books to the library 24/7 using our book drop. That's it for this week's special edition of the Adult Book Talk for I Read Canadian Day. Take care and happy reading!